What do you say, everybody? Hanging out with you guys on Cover Crimson here, brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We're waiting to see if Alabama adds another 5-star. So we want you guys to be here, be part of it, and we'll see. I think it's going to happen. I think this puts Bama's recruiting class up in the top 5. I think this is a big moment for Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff as we move forward. So like, subscribe. That's a way of saying Roll Tide. And we'll do it together. This has been just an incredible recruiting run for the Crimson Tide. So let's get this thing started. And another big day, July the 5th, and another fireworks display for the Crimson Tide. All right, there's Clint Lamb. I'm Mick Gillispie, waiting on Jireh Edwards to announce if he's coming to Alabama or not. We've done this a few times here lately, Clint, and it's been a pretty good roll for Alabama.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal run. I mean, 3 5-star commitments. I think 13 could potentially be 14 here pretty soon. Multiple top 100 guys outside of those 5 stars. Tons of guys who are ranked in the top 220-ish players. This class is really starting to round out, and you see the vision of where they're heading, kind of where they are prioritizing some of these positions, and the secondary is certainly one of them. I know they had a phenomenal recruiting class last year in the secondary, both in the transfer portal and from the high school ranks, but they want to keep stacking. And they want to keep having length and versatility and depth, because this vision-oriented defense and giving guys opportunities to break on the football, make plays, you do need a pass rush. That is a huge element of this, and they're addressing pass rush. They've added several quality pieces up front, whether it be first or second level. But, you know, the secondary is a huge element of this too, and I don't know that anybody has been recruiting better in the secondary between last year's class and this year's class than Alabama. And you potentially could be adding one of the most college-ready defensive backs, not really just defensive backs, defensive prospects in this entire 2026 cycle in Gyra Edwards. So I can't wait to see who he ends up picking. And if it ends up being Alabama, it would be a massive, massive get, Mick.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of showing where this recruiting class is, right? You know, a lot of 5-stars, a lot of elite players. Gyra Edwards from Maryland, and they might not be done in Maryland, right? Abrams could come to Alabama as well. He's another Baltimore guy from Maryland. But, you know, this is a dude, and Roll Tide to all you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us as you guys hang on your holiday. AK, you're always here, man. Love you, brother. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, and, you know, that's a way of saying Roll Tide as we hang with you. But this run that Alabama's been on, phenomenal so far, Clint. I mean, like, you turn around and you're like, here's another dude. Here's another dude. This would be, you know, another dude, man. Like, in Bama's number 6 right now. I think if they get a 5-star, it's going to put them in the top 5.
Have you been interested? What have you thought about that? I don't know. It's been kind of weird to me. Like, they keep stacking like elite recruits, and they've continuously climbed. But I think a lot of Alabama fans, and really myself included, kind of where I was thinking it would be by the end of this would be kind of top 3. And granted, I mean, they could climb to number 5. They could climb to number 4 potentially. Don't think they're going to get into the top 3. But it's just, I've just found it so funny. Now, granted, some of this is other teams countering. Like, they'll climb 2, maybe 3 spots with a commitment, and then some of those other schools that were just behind them, or just ahead of them before they got the commitment, they end up getting somebody and climbing back ahead of them. And so they end up going up only 1 or 2 spots overall when it nets itself out. But it's been kind of weird because, I mean, this, and I've tried to warn people, I don't necessarily think this is going to be a number 1 overall class. And a lot of people will say, I don't know that I've seen Alabama recruit this caliber of talent, this much talent. It feels like it is number 1 class worthy, and I agree, but it's just from a numbers standpoint, a little bit. I mean, when you got USC with 30 commitments, now granted the 5-star versus, their class, I mean, it's not even a question, but it's just, I still think this is going to be a phenomenal class. And if it is anything like this past cycle that are about to be true freshmen, or I guess are true freshmen at Alabama now, where all of these players seem to be doing well and a lot of them seem ready to contribute or ready to add depth or ready to be key members on special teams. Like, how many freshmen this spring? I can't recall that many freshmen generating that much buzz. So if they continue to evaluate at that level and they're bringing in this talent where they're getting impact talent, I mean, I'm telling you, man, this has a chance to be a very special group. Gyra Edwards could certainly be a massive part of that.
Nobody has more 5 stars than Alabama. And if you guys like that, make sure you hit the thumbs up button as you hang out with us here on this Saturday as we talk recruiting. Now, you're right. Like, what does this mean for Alabama if they knock down another, elite 5-star recruit, which is something that they've done a lot of? I think it just means that Kalen DeBoer is picking up right where Nick Saban left off, right? And I think that's what's going to happen. And here's Russell. He's like, more excuses, Auburn. Look, the bottom line is like this. Like, the scoreboard tells you the truth, right? And when you look at Alabama right now, you take away the amount of prospects that they've signed. You just look at the total ranking, the total average rating. Bama's got the the 4th best recruiting class: LSU, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Alabama. When you just talk about the average rating of the prospects, right? Are they getting players that are going to help this program? Hell yeah, they are. Like, that's what they're doing right now. Like, these are elite level prospects. Did they take advantage of recruiting weekends in Tuscaloosa when players got a chance to meet Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb and Nick Sheridan and Jamarcus Shepard and all these guys, right? Courtney Morgan. Yes. And they liked Alabama. NIL's a part of this, but Alabama has constantly said that they want people that are coming into the school that want to be there as much as they want them to be there. It's a two-way street. And so I feel like that's part of it. And the other part of it to me, Clint, is locking down the state of Alabama. And these guys are doing that too. I mean, it all comes down to Tank Jones, to me, for a clean sweep. They get Tank, and it's a clean sweep of the players that you really want out of the state. Because we've gotten 3 of them right now. I mean,
got 3 of the top 5 right now.
That's right. 3 of the guys you want.
Well, and I'm not saying Landon Duckworth is not a guy that you would want, but it's just Alabama just signed Keelan Russell. And so getting a player like that, I mean, and by the way, Gyra Edwards just committed to Alabama. That has now become official. Happened pretty quickly. Sorry about that. But yet another 5-star commitment for Alabama, making that, 5-star commitments with Tank Jones still potentially on board or on the board for Alabama. He's not on board. Don't want to get anybody to run with that statement, but we're going to get into what he means, but I want to more so talk about right now just the class as a whole. Man, I see all these players, and I've said this, but I want to continue to reiterate it. I don't care if it's the 3 stars. I see the vision. I understand where they're going with it. I see the potential there. It makes sense to me. Also, with the 5-star talent at the top, it's all like these are guys that can come in and help make an impact. And I mentioned yesterday with like Nolan Wilson, this is a guy who could take a little bit of time. I think he's got tremendous upside, and he was such an important get for Alabama's defensive front because he can play the band, he can play inside. It really helps as far as Tank Jones insurance. Not saying he's necessarily going to cost Alabama Tank Jones or anything like that. Don't think there's a worry there right now because I think you can sell Tank on the Wolf because you're playing Xavier Griffin probably at off ball. But, it's just if he elects to go elsewhere, I think getting Nolan Wilson was such a critical get for Alabama. But, he's probably going to take a little bit of time. A guy like Jireh Edwards, he's college ready right now, in my opinion, whether it be physically, I think the football IQ. Do I think that he probably needs to pick up the defense and understand the terminology? There will be a transition or an adjustment period. There is for everybody. But I think this is the second class in a row that Alabama, whether it be Ivan Taylor last year, who was a top 5 safety, or Jireh Edwards, guys who have tremendous football IQ, who have versatility, can play multiple positions, and I think can come in and kind of make close to being an immediate impact. I mean, that's so critical for, what you need, because nowadays freshmen need to be more ready for the most part. Like, you've got to get more contribution from your freshmen, because a lot of your guys who, they're sophomores, they're juniors, and they're still playing in those depth roles, a lot of those guys want to leave. And so your depth gets depleted, and you've got to be able to get impact out of your freshman group, which is why I'm so encouraged, not on top of everything that Alabama has going for it, with the returning coordinators, with all the returning players who could have went to the NFL. It is the fact the freshman class currently has come in, and they seem like a lot of them are ready to fill depth, help the depth of the team, and help Alabama push for a national championship. The world we live in right now with the NIL stuff, you kind of need that to an extent from every freshman class. And so I look at a lot of these players, the Gyra Edwards, this cat, I'm telling you right now, he will be ready to come in and help Alabama's depth at safety. And it's possible they lose Keon Sabb after this year. I mean, they will. Bray Hubbard, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he's obviously got multiple years of eligibility, and that's one that you really don't know. But you got Zay Mincy, who is not draft eligible. They're still in good shape. But a guy like Jireh Edwards, he can come in and help the depth and potentially push for some playing time to at least help. That is absolutely massive.
Yeah. Hey, look, this is another 5-star. It's like the winning streak we have over Auburn. You ready, Clint? 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 5.
Whole hand.
And there's
You're
still
gonna have to go
more.
to your other hand.
Yeah, like when Tank jumps on, and I hope they put a full court on for Tank. But I was talking to Shank, Alphonse Taylor, about those Maryland guys. He's like, man, all those Maryland guys come in and they make a difference, right? They're ballers, they're dogs. And I love that. He's right, man. You can go through Quandros, Cyrus Jones, like all these guys that come in. Like, this guy's coming in, and he is going to be expected to be part of this great secondary. You look at the amount of talent that the secondary has at Alabama. Everybody kept talking about B-Rob, this and that, and then he took the money and went to our arch rival, Georgia, well, one of them. And then all these guys rolled out on us. All of them. The whole secondary. And guess what? We came back. We put together a team last year. Those guys did really well. And now you look at the talent that this secondary has, and it's better than the secondary that left. Everybody wants to go ahead and bow down to Caleb Downs. Hey, guess what? Bray Hubbard's a higher ranked safety than him. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you look at it, Clint. That's not me. That's Pro Football Focus.
I think from a grade standpoint, yeah. I don't know what they have Caleb at, but I think Bray might be their highest graded returning safety. And granted, I don't take everything that PFF.
But you know what I mean, though, man.
100%. I'm saying
we're going and getting more players that can come in and play. And this,
that's right.
You look at this secondary, DBs and safeties, this class. I mean, this is some heat, man. This is what you want as Alabama fans. You look around and you're like, hey, guess what? Everybody likes to throw the fucking ball, but guess what? We got a bunch of guys that are gonna be ball hawking out there. Sorry for the language. I'm pretty fired up right now.
Hey, well, here's the thing. How many programs, Mick? I've always shown Caleb Downs a ton of respect. He is a special talent. He's being viewed as a special talent for the NFL. I don't know how high he'll end up going because of the position he plays and the lack of value there, seemingly. Or, I mean, it's not seemingly. I guess it's kind of fact. But he came in and he had some freshman struggles and some areas that he needed to work on. I certainly think that he did. I think he was a phenomenal player for Ohio State this past season. How many players can lose a player like that who is we instantly thought this guy's going to be probably one of the best safeties to ever play at Alabama? Lose a player like that and then end up having what Alabama had in the secondary. Now, Keon Sabb certainly helped that. One of the top safeties available in the transfer portal last year, didn't play an entire season. But then when you lost him, you had a guy like Bray Hubbard, only a 3-star recruit coming out of high school because he played quarterback, who was ready to step up and immediately assume one of those starting roles and ended up being phenomenal next to Malachi Moore. And now you've got both Keon Sabb coming back from injury. You got Bray Hubbard coming back. You have one of the best safety tandems on top of a 5-star recruit that you brought in last year in Zay Mincy, on top of the fact that you brought in Ivan Taylor, who I think is a phenomenal safety four, who, shouldn't be viewed as a safety four. It's like, I would view Zay Mincy as like a 1C as far as, starting caliber player. And I would view Ivan Taylor, I wouldn't put him in that starting category yet because we haven't officially seen it on the college level. But I would say for most programs, he would already be in the starting lineup. And I think bare minimum at almost every program, he would probably be the safety 3. So, I mean, just him being safety 4, the way that they've attacked that position after losing a talent like that, I think it's the perfect representation of Kalen DeBoer and what he's trying to accomplish, trying to replace the greatest of all time, because Caleb Downs had a chance to be one of the greatest of all time in an Alabama uniform. And he leaves just like Nick Saban did. Different reasons, obviously, but Kalen DeBoer is going out there and he is doing what he can and not only replenish the starting unit, but also adding just a tremendous amount of depth. Very, very good job by this coaching staff for sure.
All right, are you guys ready? You ready, Clint?
Boom!
Up to number 4 in recruiting. Let's go. Nobody else has five stars. None of the teams ahead of Alabama.
Hold up.
And so you're telling 19. Look at that, Clint.
So you're telling me that the top 5 ranked teams, the other 4 that aren't Alabama, collectively have 4 5-stars, and Alabama has 5 5-stars.
I'm telling you that it's a clean sweep. Come on.
And look at the 4 stars. That's what we're talking about with the difference. Look at Georgia's number of recruits. Almost not quite triple, but about 2.5 times what Alabama has from a 4-star perspective. Now you look at the 3 stars. Obviously right there in the same range, Notre Dame, Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, all in that 4, 5, 6 range. Then you got USC sitting there with 10, but they got 24-star recruits. So it's exactly what I was talking about, where the 5 stars are incredible. And if you put 4 and 5 stars together, Alabama has 13. And so you start climbing up into a, more respectable, striking distance. But once again, I think this is by design. You're going to see transfer portal action, but they're going to continue to be selective because they really like the class they brought in this past season. They're getting impact from those players. They want to give them opportunities to get on the field. And they have, not a whole lot of Alabama's guys necessarily. They have they do have a veteran team this year, but there are so many players behind these guys who you kind of like. For example, if you lose one of your safeties, you're right there ready to throw Zay Mincy in there and you expect quality play from him. You talk about some of these wide receivers. When you lose Jeremy Bernard, potentially losing Isaiah Horton, you've got guys who you already feel great about. It's like, this guy shouldn't even be our wide receiver 4 or 5 right now. He should already be in the starting lineup. He's ready to rock and roll. So it's like you're already set up for that next wave, but you are probably going to have to shore up some depth spots depending on who you do lose in the transfer portal. Maybe you have 1 or 2 positions. It's like, hey, we probably need to go get a starter here. Maybe you're not getting that out of the position, necessarily what you wanted. That could end up happening for sure. But I'm telling you right now, man, that is a beautiful sight right there. I don't care that Alabama's sitting at number 4. They are adding phenomenal players. And some of those 3 stars, I'm telling you, they're going to be 4 stars before it's all said and done.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. Like, subscribe, thumbs up if you're not a part of what we do here on Cover Crimson. But big day for Alabama. Just the continuation of just some good old country ass whoopings out in the recruiting trail. And, and here we are again, like another 5-star, 5 stars. They're in on Tank Jones, trying to pull him in. Clint, there's some other guys that they're in on. People said that Kalen DeBoer couldn't recruit the state of Alabama. They're finding out the hard way that, guess what? He's doing a fine job there. People that show up like Edwards, they talk about the culture. They talk about the goal at Alabama to win championships. They talk about how the program gets you ready for the NFL. And nothing's changed without Coach Saban. So this is look, man, this is a big get for Alabama just because, you're adding another 5-star talent But it's also a message to everybody else. You know, we're not sitting down and complaining about the way that the system is, that it's unfair, pointing the finger at other programs, complaining about how things aren't going. We're just whooping your ass every day. And that's what's been going on for the last 20 years, and nothing's changed.
Yeah, I mean, he continues to do a phenomenal job. I mean, the entire staff across the board. And looking at the class, it looks incredible. You got impact players. You know, when you look at it as 5-star wide receiver, 5-star safety, 5-star corner, 5-star linebacker, 5-star running back. So it's like you're like, okay, wait, where are the 5-star offensive linemen? Where are the 5-star defensive linemen? I have said, and I'll continue to reiterate this, they're looking for specific guys. And if they can get those guys, I'm not saying that none of the 5 stars or super highly rated 4 stars didn't fit what they were looking for. I guarantee you they do. But they're looking for specific skill sets that fit within their system. And when everything is operating correctly, and it was not operating correctly in 2024, I'll go ahead and tell you that when I'm talking specifically about the offensive line right now, when everything is operating as it should in a Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb offense, it is going to protect your offensive line a little bit because it is so diverse, whether it be you're talking about a diverse run game, you're talking about run pass, straining defenses in a variety of ways. What happens is you see defensive lines start playing a little bit timid. They're trying to play east-west a little bit too much because of what you're asking them to do. They're not as penetrative coming off the ball, firing on all cylinders. So the reason that I say that is to say, there was a lot of NFL talent with Washington's offensive line when they won the Joe Moore Award, a couple of years ago. There was a lot of NFL talent, day 1, day 2 talent. You got to have that for sure if you want to have the best offensive line in college football. But I think it was a mix of talent and scheme that helps protect that offensive line that elevated them from being just one of the best offensive lines to being considered the best offensive line in college football a couple of years ago. But the problem is Alabama's offense last year, the way that it operated, you had, you weren't playing on schedule nearly enough, not nearly enough, early down success, putting yourself in favorable down and distances. You were allowing opposing defensive fronts to pin their ears back, get after your quarterback, and the tackles just weren't built for it. So, if you change one element, which is staying on schedule more, you can put the exact same offensive line that Alabama had last year with Elijah Pritchett at right tackle, and that unit is going to improve substantially. But there was way too much early down failure, which set them up for passing down failures. And that's what I think is going to get cleaned up through, improved, Ryan Grubb at offensive coordinator. I think just the way that they're going to play at quarterback is going to help that. I think they're going to be a little bit more diverse in how they attack things. Running back should be able to, get enough rushing opportunities without a dominant run first quarterback like Jalen Milroe taking carries from them. They can get in a rhythm a little bit more. I just think everything's going to operate better. When you talk about the defense, they have good defensive linemen right now. We'll see what happens after this season. We know they're losing Tim Keenan. It's possible James Smith could be like a breakout star this year and leave early. He was a former 5-star prospect, has a lot of traits that you like. Not saying he's not going to leave, but you like Jeremiah Beeman. We've heard great things about Edric Hill. Steve Mbumwa, he's been doing some good things. I've heard he's making progress and getting more comfortable in the college level. I don't know if that's going to mean some sort of role for this season, but they still certainly like him for the future. And they've added some really good defensive linemen in this class already. So while they don't have the 5 stars or the highly rated 4 stars, you don't necessarily have to. So I don't think people should be freaking out about the trenches. I understand the importance of the trenches. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think a lot of games are won and lost there. But when you have an offense that's designed the way that Alabama's is going to be under Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, you can help yourself a little bit. And you don't have to quite have that level of talent, but Alabama will have a lot of talent. Do not get me wrong.
All right, so what's next, Clint? I mean, we've kind of like, and I got to give our guy Andrew Bone, who has been on my radio show for years, and our guy, a lot of credit for kind of helping us like navigate through all of these announcements. But what's next? Is there somebody that's lined up coming up? Because it's been a flurry of activity.
Well, Elijah Griffin is one to keep an eye on. He's a defensive lineman. I don't even know how to say his last name. The former Auburn offensive tackle. I don't even know how to say it. Not going to botch it. I apologize. I know how to spell it. But he's an offensive tackle that Alabama's pursuing. We'll see what happens with that. You got Tank Jones. Right now, their class, I would say, is at least 90% done, if not more. So it's kind of identifying some of those players. They'll try to push to get some guys flipped, but really the priority to me, if you're this coaching staff, is hanging on to these guys, making sure you're staying. And they will. I'm not telling them anything that they don't already know, but just maintain the relationships, have success on the field. I think Alabama's going to be really good this year. I'm not concerned about continued fall off or whatever, and then there becomes some concern, and then some guys start jumping. And I'm not concerned about any of that. I think the product on the field this year is going to be really good. I think that these guys know that they fit within these systems. They're fun systems to play in that's going to put their skill sets on full display, whether you're talking about offense or defense. And I think that they understand that they are going to be well taken care of. They're going to be looked out for. And so, I'm not really worried about guys jumping ship at all. I mean, unless you want to buy into the Hugh Freeze narrative of August 1st, which I was pretty vocal about yesterday. I'm not. But this is just it's a special group, man. I could go down the list, and I'm sure we will. We'll kind of reevaluate it and kind of highlight some of these guys, because we didn't talk a ton about Jordan Edmonds. And I definitely want to highlight him. We weren't doing this sort of thing back when he first committed. We'll be talking about the class. We got something planned for signing day. I just want to go ahead and put that out there, put that on everybody's radar. But Gyra Edwards, just getting into him specifically, Mick, 6'1.5", 6'2", somewhere in that range, 205 to 210 pounds, college-ready build, 5-star recruit, the number 2 safety in the country, a top 20 overall player, incredibly impressive physically, great size, great build, crazy athleticism, strong football IQ. And I think that combination is really going to help him not only come in and potentially help from day one, but he could be a guy, I think, with the football IQ where you can maybe ask him a lot earlier than some of these other guys to play multiple positions. If you want to play him at Husky, which I think would be his ideal position, kind of more of a nickel corner, box safety, certainly think he can do that. He could play safety. But this guy, he triggers downhill, extremely fast, great in run support, will run the alley. And, I think he's fantastic as far as the catch point and being physical at the catch point. The ball, I don't think he's got tremendous ball skills, or he hadn't shown it at this point, but very competitive at the catch point. And I love the way that he tackles. He's a sound tackler, shows awareness as far as dropping into zones. I think he can do the zone stuff. I think he can do the man stuff. He is a perfect candidate for Kane Wommack's defense playing that Husky position. And I think that before it's all said and done, Alabama, while Kane Wommack was at South Alabama, he got impact play out of that Husky position. I want to say in 2022, Yam Banks was his starting Husky. He ended up going to Ole Miss once Kane Wommack left. 6'1", 210 pounds. I think finished tied for 3rd nationally in interceptions with 6. Had a couple of forced fumbles. He was definitely an impact player. A guy like Jireh Lewis can be that on steroids. And so I'm really excited to see what he can bring to this defense. Very fun player.
Exciting times in Tuscaloosa. We got more to talk about, but a couple things I want to tell you. First off, it's that time of year, vacation time, residents in Ocean City. Back-to-back coastal-style hotel of the year. Our friend Keith is a Bama guy, and you guys are looking for somewhere to go. Secrets Bar, the boardwalk down at OC. Take advantage of this time of year, the great weather, and go check out Ocean City, Maryland. The guys from the next round did that. They loved it, thought it was fantastic, and I think you guys will as well. Well, this is the thing I ask you, Clint, all the time, like as these guys commit to Alabama, is there anyone that you look, when you look at Gyra Edwards and you go, hey, man, this guy kind of reminds me of this, or he looks like this. Is there anybody that pops in your head when it comes to Edwards?
That's a good question. I've seen a comparison. I think it was 24/7 Sports compared him to Malachi Starks. Now, I think I don't want to. I mean, Malachi Starks was just a 1st-round draft pick, so I don't want anybody to get me wrong and think I'm saying, I like Gyra Edwards as a high school prospect more than I did Malachi Starks. Now, I liked Malachi Starks, and I thought he was a really good player, and he turned into a really good player for Georgia. Obviously, struggled against Alabama last year. I'll go ahead and tell you that. But, I mean, overall, he was a phenomenal player. He put that on tape in a very poor performance, in my opinion, against Alabama, and he still went first round of the Baltimore Ravens, who outside of Matt Elam, they are typically pretty good at evaluating defensive backs. So, I think that's a pretty good comp. I do like that. Give me some time to think about it. I should always come prepared for this because that has become a pretty normal question. But, I think he can do a lot of different things as far as being that overhang safety, single high, split safety looks, playing down in the box, playing husky, screaming off the edge. Once again, I don't think the ball skills he hadn't shown elite ball skills up to this point. I don't care. That the guy is going to compete at the catch point. If you want to catch the football and he's covering you, you're going to have to compete for it. And I love that. I mean, the guy gets after you. He's big. He's physical, great in run support. So, and the ball skills could continue to come. I'm not saying he's got poor ball skills, but it's just kind of with Damani Jackson, when he was coming out, we were like, okay, we just haven't really seen a whole lot. Does he have those ball skills? And at USC, he really didn't. But he showed a tremendous improvement on that front this past season for Alabama, and I think that's going to position him to be potentially a first-round pick come next spring when the NFL draft happens. And, so you could see something similar from Jireh Edwards, but he's versatile, he's fun, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying he's going to start as a freshman because I don't know what Alabama's going to have, but he is a college-ready defensive back right now, and once he gets a grasp of Kane Wommack's system, I think he's going to be ready to, bare minimum, provide very quality depth and a guy who's probably going to play some snaps. So, once again, Mick, phenomenal get.
All right, final thing as you guys hang out with us here on Cover Crimson, like, subscribe. Please do it, man. Be a part of what we're doing. Hit the bell so you know when we're live, right, when we do live shows. But breaking down this 5-star commitment to Alabama, Gyra Edwards, and the fifth one for Alabama. They're up to on three's ranking, number 4, best class. It's been like watching Dale Earnhardt at Talladega. All of a sudden, we're getting into the, kind of the meat of the race, and the guy just keeps on sneaking up to the front, right? I don't know that Alabama's going to have the number 1 class because they just don't have. There's not a need to go out and get 30 guys, but of these recruits, every one of them that they're bringing in is somebody significant, whether it's someone that you feel really good about them developing or somebody that's ready to play. Gyra Edwards, obviously somebody that is ready to go, and make an impact at the beginning of the year. In the secondary at Alabama, when you look at the elite level of player that has joined the secondary, it's exciting. I mean, it really is. Maurice Lindquist has to be really happy about that. Kane Wommack has to be happy about that. When you look at these guys and you're going, man, this is there's a lot of 5-stars back there and a lot of really highly rated 4-stars, guys that can make an impact.
Yeah, and I want people to think about, okay, so right now in the secondary, Alabama's got Jordan Edmonds, 5-star corner, the number 2 cornerback in the country. They got Zion Gibson, a 4-star, ranked the number 76 overall player, cornerback 11. Gyra Edwards, a 5-star, ranked number 2 safety. And then you got, Rahel Kelly, a 3-star, who has got a ton of length. Everybody's got length, in this secondary class. You look at that. You look at what Alabama got last year with Dijon Lee. You got Chuck McDonald, who was a 4-star, I think the cornerback 7, if I'm not mistaken. You got Cam Calhoun, which is potentially a multi-year guy, was only a redshirt freshman for Utah this past season. So when I'm talking high school, I don't like to also include what they added in the transfer portal most of the time, because a lot of times it's like that guy's probably going to be a 1-year guy, maybe a 2-year guy. But when it comes to Cam Calhoun, he was only a redshirt freshman this past season, so he's definitely got potentially 3 more years. I'll go ahead and include him in last year's class. And then you had Ivan Taylor, who was the number, I think, ranked in the top 70 for sure, the number 5 safety. These last 2 classes, they're absurd. 5-star talent, top 100 talent, length, size, versatility. This is as fun as it gets, Mick. When you talk about secondary play, and right now, Nick Saban, I'm telling you, if anything motivated this guy to get off I'm not saying he's on the couch, but to get off the couch and get back into coaching, looking at these last two secondary classes that Kalen DeBoer has brought in, I'm certain would motivate him, because this is some phenomenal talent. They all seem like great kids, and I'm excited to see what Kane Wommack can do with them.
So what do you think about the momentum of this recruiting class, and what's next for Alabama as we move forward here?
What's next for Alabama?
Yeah.
Oh, it's and granted, they'll continue to try to fill some holes, and they'll identify some players and they'll go after them, and they got to keep battling for their own. Don't get me wrong. That will be a massive part of, between now and December, and everybody knows that. But SEC Media Day is here in a couple of weeks. I think Alabama is on July 16th, so that's 11 days away. I'm going to be in Atlanta, ready to cover that. We're going to be doing a show from there, or I'm going to be doing it from there. And everybody kind of views it this way. Once SEC Media Days rolls around, you're only a couple of weeks from fall camp getting underway. We're going to have nuggets coming out of camp. We're going to have practice videos. We're going to have tons of information for you guys. So once SEC Media Days rolls around, to me, it's football season. So we're 11 days away from really starting to get a lot of quality football information as far as the 2025 season. Alabama's going to be one of the better teams in college football, in my opinion. Think they're going to push for a national championship. And us on this channel, if you love Alabama and you want great coverage, that's exactly what we're aiming to provide. And we're going to be having some fun with it, man. It was last year was fun to an extent, but there were some stressful moments for everybody involved. Obviously, when you lose 3 games in the regular season and 4 overall, it was never what any of us wanted. But this year, I think it's a lot more in Kalen DeBoer's image, and I think that's going to result in better results on the field. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
How about the run that Bama's been on?
Bama's been on with what?
I mean, with this recruiting. I mean, like, what are your thoughts
on the run that they're currently on?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best runs I've ever seen. I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you that. And I said yesterday, and I want to continue to reiterate it. It's a little bit different how they do recruiting now. Like, you kind of cram it into the month of June. You spill over into early July, but really before SEC Media Days, a lot of these teams, they kind of have a majority of their class filled. And a lot of these players, they want to go ahead and knock out their decisions, have that behind them where they can focus on getting better and focus on their senior years, or in Xavier Crowell's case, his junior year, which I guess is now a senior year. But, just this has been such a special run. And I mean, I'm not saying that nothing's going to crop up, but we just don't know of anything else. So I've had a blast doing this with you, Mick, and just hopping on here. It feels like every day. There's been some pre-recorded stuff, but getting back to doing the live stuff, I love doing it. I know you love doing it. It seems like people enjoy jumping in the comments. We can actually react to them instead of doing the premieres where, you post a comment or you're doing your side of things live, but we can't pull it up and we can't discuss it because we're not actually there live. I try to hop in the chat sometimes, but this has been so much fun, and we appreciate everybody who has been along for this ride. And here's the thing: this was the recruiting ride. This might be kind of starting to come to an end as far as this exciting little run here. But we can reflect on it. We'll continue to do that. But it's time to start turning our attention to the 2025 college football season, because I think it's going to create as many, if not more, exciting moments for fans.
Hey, if you missed the show or you want to watch the show but you can't get to YouTube, we got the audio for you covered on the Cover Crimson podcast network. And that's Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. You can download and listen. We ask you to download every day. We're putting shows out every day, whether it's us two, Coker, Jimmy Stein on here sometimes. We want you to do that and kind of follow us wherever we go. And then don't forget, we're brought to you by our friends at Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Missy. The Azaleas, the Oaks, 2 amazing golf courses right there. Great place to celebrate recruiting. Out on the golf course, Philip M. Steakhouse, Mom and Them's restaurant, all the cool things going on over there, including the sports book at Golden Moon Casino. Happy birthday to the Chief today. It's his birthday. Chief Cyrus Ben. So, man, we're like family over there. You guys are as well. You're welcome to go hang out. Jeff Dunham, the comedian, is going to be there, water park, all that stuff as well at Pearl River, which is an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. Any final thoughts, Clint? Big day for Alabama, another one.
Nope. I'm a huge day for Alabama. And once again, this has just been so much fun, man. I can't tell people how much we appreciate y'all being along for this ride. We've been growing this thing, and just the interactions and the comments, it means the world to us. It really does. And once again, really, this is where it starts to, I feel like, crank up, not from a recruiting standpoint, but from a coverage standpoint. Be doing a lot more live shows once fall camp is underway, and we can get some nuggets and some information. I can hopefully get out to practice one or two times. Just anything that we can provide people to get them excited for the season. It kind of feels like in this new NIL era, sometimes some of the fans feel left out. Well, you're not left out with us. You guys are family, and you guys are 100% a part of this. And so we want to bring as much information and conversation to you guys as humanly possible. So we appreciate everybody for sure.
Yeah. And look, you guys want to throw out your fashion, as you hang out. And I got you covered here. And look at that, Rowback Crimson 20. That's our promo code. 20% off all Rowback gear when you use our promo code Crimson 20. Each email address gets that same discount. So you guys could look good like Coke, look smooth like Jake Coker, national championship winning quarterback. And
we've heard that you can throw the football as well as Coker if you get their stuff. I don't know. That might be, I don't want to say, I'm just rumors, man. I don't know.
You look like you'll be able to throw it. Hey, we'll talk to you guys again soon. Thanks for being here. Roll Tide, everybody.
To Pearl River Resort.